The FBI is searching a California lake in connection to the San Bernardino terror attack. Two divers have been working the lake through. It's unclear exactly what they're looking for. Now, this lake is located near the scene of the attacks, and this search comes as the FBI questions Enrique Marquez. He is the man who purchased two of the weapons used by the terrorists. We're told Marquez, though, has been cooperating with authorities. So let's get straight to CBS News producer Sally Rosen, who is at the search scene, and she joins us on the phone. Sally, what can you tell us? What's going on there?
Hey, Vlad. Here on the scene, it's the FBI Underwater Search and Evidence Response Team. There's about 10 FBI agents. They're underneath a makeshift tent. And then we have two divers in the water right now. There's a team of 3 divers, but 2 are currently in the water. They seem to be pretty much in shallow water, close to the perimeter of the lake. And like you mentioned, this is about 3.5 miles from the crime scene of last week's shooting. One of the interesting things is that there's a big crowd of press. There's probably about 20 reporters here right now. And the FBI, they have some crime tape up, but they're not keeping us back. There's no San Bernardino. Well, there's few San Bernardino police officers on scene. This is really a federal agent investigation right now, and we don't have any word what they're looking for, but they have a mobile workstation underneath a tent, and then they have 2 trucks in the parking lot where they seem to be taking evidence for more examination. So we're just kind of here. The public is also here. I think the people of San Bernardino have seen a lot in the last week, and this is just one more layer of intrigue.
Sally, looking at some of the video, as you point out, it looks like they're not really that far out into the lake. They look like they're closer to shore, which might lead some people to think that it's throwing distance from shore. I mean, have you seen them going any further out than what you might be able to, for example, toss an object into the lake?
No, that's a good point. I'm standing right next to the tape that's breaking the press and the public off from the investigators, and I would say I'm about 40 feet from the perimeter of the lake. And, I think this is, with not such a strong arm, you could check something and definitely make it into the lake from right now. So it's just kind of waiting and seeing. People got a tip about an hour ago. There's word, though, that the investigators have been here as early as 7:30 this morning.
And Sally, have you been able to, I know probably the FBI is keeping mum, but have you been able to speak to anybody on the scene who might be able to offer any kind of insight as to exactly what they're looking for?
No, the FBI, I think they're probably they're keeping us as off, us being the press and the public. They're keeping us off as far as they can, but we're pretty close to this investigation right now. As far as distance, it's broad daylight. It's about 65 degrees outside, so it's a comfortable place for the reporters and the press and the public to kind of just hang out and see if anyone comes out of this lake with anything in their hands.
And Sally, so there are 2 divers that are currently in the lake right now. You said there was also a 3rd diver. How many agents are on the scene?
I'd say I can see right now about 10 federal agents. There's 3 FBI workstations in the parking lot, and then there's 1 workstation right on the perimeter of the lake. They also have a San Bernardino City Fire Department truck, although what we've seen them do so far is hose down the divers once they get out of the water.
And I know that these things are very fluid when you're on the scene reporting a story, and you've been there since the very beginning. But how did CBS News and other reporters get wind that this was going down?
There was a tip that came out from some of the local stations here that we followed. I think, though, that the FBI wants to keep mum. There has been some information from the investigation coming out, and I think the FBI is trying to kind of keep a little bit closer lid on this investigation until, as you mentioned, the Marquez individual is being dealt with a lot of careful detail right now, and I think that the FBI wants to keep the press, a good distance away from anything until they're certain.
And Sally, let me ask you this. For those of us who've never been to San Bernardino, how far is the lake away from where these activities, this terror attack took place, and from perhaps the residents of the killers?
Sure. This is certainly a different part of town from where the shooting took place. It's about a 3.5 mile drive, but it's closer to where the police station is, where the city hall is, those kind of municipal buildings. But it's definitely a different feel. Where the shooting took place, there are a lot of conference buildings, businesses, chain restaurants. This is a different feeling of San Bernardino. This park is, we're in California drought, as we all know. So this park is very dry. It's very barren. And this must be the most exciting thing that has happened in this park in some time.
Sally, stand by for 1 second. Let me just reset for our viewers who might just be joining us now. So what you're looking at is the FBI searching a California lake in connection to the San Bernardino terror attack. And you can see divers there working through the lake. We're not exactly sure what they are looking for. This lake, as we've been saying, is located near the scene of attacks. Now, this search is coming as the FBI is questioning Enrique Marquez. He is the man who purchased 2 of the assault weapons used by the terrorists. Now, we're told that Mr. Marquez has been cooperating with authorities, and Sally Rosen, a CBS News producer, is on the scene there. She's been telling us exactly what she is noticing and what she's seeing. And we see, Sally, these FBI agents, you say there are 10 on the scene there. It looks like they're going through the lake in a very methodical way, right? I mean, there's not any kind of hurry. And at one point, we saw one of the divers sort of just very close to shore, sort of running his hands along the bottom of the lake.
That's right, and this is a very small part of the lake that they're looking at. If I were to walk 100 yards down, there's no reason why I couldn't put my foot in the water. So they really have this one particular area that they have taped off, and that seems to be the focus of the investigation. And as I mentioned, Vlad, it's the Underwater Research and Evidence Response Team, so a specific unit of the FBI that is concentrating with divers and logistical support for what they might find in the water.
And you haven't seen them pull anything out of the water in the time that you've been there, right?
No, we haven't. And speaking with some of the other reporters that are here, we're all just kind of waiting for something to come out of the water with the divers. But at this time, we just kind of see some divers. I heard one of the FBI agents say that, one of their colleagues was time for him to come out. I think he came out, got a little rest, and someone else went back in. So it does seem, as I said, someone here had said to me that the feds have been here since 7:30 this morning. So this could be a long morning and now into the afternoon of searching in this water. And these 3 divers, yes, it's a team of 3. There are currently 2 in. They could just be getting tired.
Sally, stand by for a moment. We want to keep talking to you. But we spoke to our justice reporter, Paula Reed, earlier about Mr. Marquez, how he fits into this case. And I find it intriguing, as I'm sure you do on the ground there, that as we started to get reports that he was being cooperative with authorities, that we learned that the FBI was searching this lake. Let's play that sound.
Vlad, we can confirm that an FBI search team is conducting a dive in this lake near San Bernardino, and sources tell us the search is related to the San Bernardino shooting. Now, this lake has previously come up in discussions with sources we've talked to, but this is the first time that we've heard that they're searching the lake. You only usually search a lake if you're looking for weapons or electronics or some sort of evidence that someone was clearly trying to hide.
And so this man who has been linked to these terror attacks, Enrique Marquez, or at least he's under investigation by the FBI and other law enforcement officials, we're being told that he's being very cooperative with federal authorities in discussing the 2 terrorists who attacked that center in San Bernardino. Explain a little bit of his relationship that he has to them.
Sure, and I want to be careful about our language. While he is being questioned by the FBI, he's not formally under investigation. They're just trying to get information out of him. And like you said, he's being quite cooperative. He's giving them lots of information, but they can't take him at his word. Once he gives them information, they then have to go and then try to corroborate that information. Some of the things that he's told them, of course, is that he and his friend tried to plot an attack back in 2012. But they don't know that. They have to go and get more information to see if that's actually true. If that is true, it is very likely that he could be charged with material support in this case, because as he transfer those weapons to his friend, he could have a reason to believe that they were used in a terrorist attack. So he could be charged with material support for terror. Now, if it turns out that he made that up and that is not true, he could also be charged with lying to the feds. So while he has not been charged at this point, he is not officially under investigation. He is cooperating, is communicating, and giving information to the FBI.
Paula Reed, our justice reporter, reporting to us from Washington. Paula, thank you. Let's get straight back to our producer, Sally Rosen, who is on the ground at the scene of this FBI search of this lake in San Bernardino, California. We're showing pictures of that search happening right now. So, Sally, just set the scene for us. Describe what's happening there, what you're seeing.
Sure. Right now, there's about 10 FBI agents on the scene. They're standing on the perimeter of the lake here, Lake Sacombe in San Bernardino, California. We're about 3.5 miles from last week's shooting where 14 were killed. Right now, there are 2 FBI divers in the water. They're in shallow water. They're probably only 15 feet from the perimeter of this lake. This is a city park. It's quite barren. And we are told that the FBI has been on scene since 7:30 this morning. There are 2 mobile unit FBI trucks where if there is any evidence found, it would be processed. 2 of the trucks, we can kind of see into the trunk. And then 1 truck has a tent at the back of it. So I would think that anything, if it's brought out that they don't want the public's eyes to see, it would be processed in that truck. Then right on the edge of the water, there is another tent that's been set up, and there is a mobile workstation. I see 5 FBI agents standing around kind of a makeshift desk. It's an electronics kind of opened like a trunk. So they're clearly, maybe there's cameras attached to the FBI agents who are in the water right now. But there is a considerable federal presence here right now. And I would say a big crowd of just San Bernardino citizens are on the scene, adding a little bit more excitement to their Thursday afternoon. And we just got word from our justice producer, Andy Trey, that we can confirm that this search, the FBI is looking for a hard drive. The hard drive was missing from the Farook home, and I guess they have reason to believe that this hard drive may be in the water here.
Yeah, Sally, you know, as you were talking, as I was watching these pictures of these FBI divers going through this lake, and I just kept thinking to myself, well, why would they be looking for a weapon if that was what they were looking for? Because the weapons were most likely used in that attack, and Mr. Marquez has already admitted to purchasing those assault rifles. And I just kept thinking to myself, it's got to be something electronic. It's got to be something that they can use to conduct the investigation, or that they can sort of look through to find out more details about what these terrorists were doing. And now you're confirming, as is Andy Trey, our producer, that they are looking for a hard drive in that lake.
That's right. And many items from the Farook home were seized last week in a raid by the FBI. And we were told that the suspect's cell phones were found smashed in a nearby trash can. But there's not been much word about a hard drive. So, you know, if Mr. Farook or Ms. Malik had by any chance had the chance to come over here and dispose of the hard drive, it wouldn't be a far drive for them, and certainly not a far drive from the crime scene. So there's certainly something cooking here at the lake this afternoon.
And Sally, being that you've been on the scene since the horrific events of that day, I'm wondering, have federal officials given reporters, you, CBS News, us, any details as to kind of the electronic data that they've been uncovering as they conduct their investigation? In other words, we know that President Obama has said that that as far as he is aware, as of the moment that he delivered that speech from the Oval Office, that they had no affiliation, as far as he could tell, with any foreign groups other than themselves saying on social media that they were affiliated with ISIS. I'm wondering if there's been any kind of sharing of information that the FBI is picking up to reporters.
To reporters right now, we've been told that the cell phones, which would have invaluable information for investigators, has been sent to the FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia. So we're told that the FBI headquarters will probably give us the information. When they can build a better case around the motive of these 2 individuals, that's when they're going to share what's been on the cell phones. The hard drive has been less of something mentioned, but you know, if the 2 individuals were communicating with anyone in a terror network here in the U.S. or overseas, obviously that hard drive would hold a lot of those details.
And again, if you're just joining us, we're on the phone with Sally Rosen, a CBS News producer who is in San Bernardino, California. And what you're seeing right now on your screen are images of FBI divers sort of dredging, going through a lake there, not far from the scene of those terrorist attacks. And we can confirm now, CBS News can confirm through our producer, Andy Trey, that the FBI divers are searching for a hard drive in that lake. And I know, Sally, we've had you on now for quite some time, but if you can just describe to our viewers
Sure.
how this information, how you came across the fact that the FBI was doing this and what they're doing now.
Well, one interesting thing that I'd like to kind of paint the scene is that there's a diver that's, you know, from the perimeter of the lake. He's only probably 5 feet off So I'm probably standing about 50 feet from where he is, and the diver is on his stomach, and at some point his legs are even coming out of the water. That's how shallow he is. That is how close to the edge of the lake they are. So this would be an easy distance to dispense of something. If you went to go stand on this on the edge of this lake and chuck something, with not too much might, you could probably get something, about 20 feet out, and that's kind of where this diver is right now. And we are here. There's about 10 FBI agents on the water, on the perimeter of the water, the 2 divers inside. There's a few mobile workstations set up by the FBI. This is the underwater search and evidence response team unit of the FBI, and they have reason to believe that there is that there is some part of the Farook Malik investigation that has led them to this lake today. And we're all kind of waiting to see what, if anything, is pulled out of this water.
And how long has this search been going on, Sally?
So the press got wind of it, right around the lunch hour today. But it's 2:20 out here right now in California, and around 1 o'clock is when the press got word of it. But people here on the scene have told me, I've not confirmed this, but someone here has told me, said that the FBI has been here since early this morning, perhaps as early as 7:30. So this could be a long day of investigation, of trying to comb through some evidence and see what they can find in this lake.
Yeah, and Sally, as we watch these images of these FBI divers searching this lake not far from the scene of that terrorist act in San Bernardino, California, everybody, I'm sure, is thinking, well, hard drives, they come in all shapes and sizes. Obviously, they could be, one of those lacy drives, those orange lacy drives that we see a size of something like that, a small paperback book. But it could also be,
right,
for all we know, a little tiny USB drive. That's
right. That's right. I'd also like to add, Vlad, as I'm seeing this now, I see most of the agents that are on scene, they're kind of in, you may see the pictures, they're in work clothes, cargo pants, short sleeve T-shirts. A few more agents have just arrived, and they're more in suits and ties. So I'm just adding the color to the scene. I don't know if they've called in for more people, but it's a growing crowd of FBI agents this afternoon.
And Sally, have they said that they plan on briefing reporters at some point? I mean, I know you said that, and it's kind of interesting, there aren't any San Bernardino police officers on the scene, or there may be 1 or 2, right?
There are, yep. I only see 1 right now, and I see a San Bernardino City fire truck. And I mentioned I saw the fire department hosing down some of the divers when they came out of the water. That was about 25 minutes ago. But this is really a federal investigation, it looks like, right now. We heard that the FBI is going to put out a statement about the lake investigation, but I don't have any timing on that, Vlad.
All right, Sally Rosen, Sally, reporting on the ground from there in San Bernardino, California, where what you're seeing right now are images of FBI divers who are searching for a hard drive in the lake. Sally has been there since the horrific events of that day. She's reporting to us that we can confirm now that they are looking for this hard drive. We don't know what kind of a hard drive it is, in other words, how big it is or how small it might be. This has been going on for quite some time, and it may be quite some time before those divers pull anything out of that lake. Sally, though, is on the scene. We thank you, Sally Rosen, for your reporting. We're going to continue to monitor these images. We're going to continue to try to figure out exactly what else perhaps the FBI may be looking for, and if obviously they come up with anything, we'll bring that to you live right here on CBSN.